Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel again. And today I'm going to be sharing my faith story of how I went to Australia. I am originally from Kenya, and I will just take you on a faith journey. I'm going to be giving these little faith stories. And I know that when I'm giving my story, sometimes I just take too long, but I hope I'll keep it short and neat and nice that you can follow along and be inspired, okay? So I'm gonna start. So my journey started in 2011 while I was back in Kenya. Back then I was working in the bank, Kenya Commercial Bank. That's the bank that my dad was working to, so we were in the same, field. And so around 2011, but like 2 years prior that to lead me to this place of wanting to start this journey was filled with a lot of pain. Like I had incurred a lot of loss. I had lost my brother, my beloved brother, who was my best friend in 2009, and then the same year, actually towards the end of 2008. So 2008 December, I lost my best friend, my brother, and I lost my boyfriend then that I was crazy in love with. I walked into him with another woman, and that was terrifying because I thought I only watched such things on the television, and maybe I read that on a novel or something. So it was terrifying. So I was being shaken around that time, and then fast forward, so 2008, towards the end, it was in December when I lost my brother. I remember when I was crossing over to 2009, I renewed my vows to the Lord. I decided that maybe I'm not walking with the Lord right, and I need to put my life in order. It was either that or I just forsake the Lord altogether, because the pain was too much. It was either that I go back and be committed with my journey with the Lord, or I completely forsake him, and I chose to go back and renew my vows with the Lord. So 2009, this is when I was in Nairobi. I'm originally from Mombasa, which is the coastal area of Kenya. I had just been transferred with my job, the Kenya Commercial Bank, to Nairobi. So I decided to kind of renew my life in that sense. So I looked for a new church around the area because I was new in this area, and I decided I'm going to start my life afresh. So 2009 to 2011 was a time of my life where I was really rededicating my life to the Lord, reshaping my walk with the Lord, and getting serious. I've been a Christian since I was 8 years old, but this time round I decided I need to go all in, okay? So fast forward again to 2009, 2011, I had joined the new church, and I had joined the choir, and I was like, loving this new journey with the Lord, and my faith was being strengthened, and God was already doing a lot of healing work in me. And then 2011, I was feeling really bored working in the bank. I was working in the back office, just going to the computer, doing the same thing over and over every day. I was really bored. It wasn't like before when I joined the bank. I was a salesperson, so I was going outside, I was meeting people, but this back office thing wasn't really working for me. So I decided I need a change. I started praying. I started seeking the Lord. I said, Lord, please lead me. I feel like it's time for me to change, to go to another season, which I don't know what I really want. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I feel like it's my time to change, okay? So I was in the worship team, and I remember it was on a Wednesday Tuesday night, we used to go for Tuesday night prayers. I went for Tuesday night prayers, and during that day, this particular Tuesday, I was seeking the Lord to really guide me, give me direction of where I'm headed to in life. I was feeling stuck, and I was just asking God to please unstuck me. So I prayed like fervently this particular Tuesday. The next morning was a Wednesday, And I usually used to get to the office super early, around 6 a.m. in the morning. The office is open officially at 9, but I used to get there by 6 so I can meditate, read the Bible, and just prepare myself for the day. So this particular Wednesday, I went in, and I remembered, so I lived in India prior coming to the bank, prior coming to Kenya and joining the bank. I lived in India. I did my Bachelor's of Commerce in India. And I remember my journey in India is when God had really took me on a journey where he was purifying me and setting me aside. And during these moments, I met a lot of missionaries, and one of the missionaries from South America had welcomed me in their house, and they loved playing Hillsong music a lot. And this was new to me, and I really loved this music, okay? So this one particular day, this is back when I was in India, I was left alone in the house, in the missionary house, and I was watching TV, and on the TV was a God channel, and they were playing Hillsong music. And I felt attracted to this music so much. I was like, and I made a silly wish in my mind. I wish I was a part of this crowd worshiping God like they are. It felt like they were really having fun in God's presence. And I felt like, I wish that was me. It was just a random wish. Anyway, fast forward, 2011, on the Wednesday now, I'm in the office. And I got there at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I'm thinking, I googled Hillsong because I was like, let me check what Hillsong released. What is the new song that Hillsong released? And then I typed Hillsong. And then it came up with Hillsong music. No, it came up with Hillsong College. I was like, wait, they have a college? Wait, I even didn't know that Hillsong was in Australia. I was like, wait, Hillsong is in Australia? I even didn't know that Australia as a country existed. I'm like, wait, so I'm now drawn into different things at the same time. I forgot that I was looking for a song. I was looking for the new latest album, Worship, whatever. But so I started checking it out. And in the school, they have a worship school, and it's international. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Because the night before, when I was praying, I told God, I feel like I need to be in a place where there will be worship 24/7. And I remember I used to have this dream of becoming an air hostess, but I tried and that door never opened. I applied, I went for the interviews, that door never opened. But I was like, maybe let me try that door one more time and see if it opens, and maybe I can go to Dubai to work with Fly Emirates. But I was like, but the thing is, I want to be in an environment where worship is vibrant. I want to be part of that, because I was already part of the worship team in my church. I was like, I want to continue with that vibe. I want to continue with that, lifestyle of being in a place where is close to people who are worshipers of the Lord Jesus Christ. Okay, so this particular morning, the next day, I was like, wait, I was saying that as long as there's a place that is surrounded with worship, then I want to be there. And then I saw that they have a school that is teaching worship school. I was like, oh, maybe this is a sign. Maybe this is a sign I need to apply, and I need to be in Australia. Without thinking, clicked the link, did my application very blindly. I wasn't even thinking. It was just like a funny joke, but I went with it. I applied, submitted, boom. And then it hit me. What did you just do, Nema? Because air ticket will be required, school fees will be required, everything else that needs money will be required. Where will you get all this from? And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this as a fleece. If this is God's will that I need to be in Australia, then God is gonna provide for a way for me to get there. And I never thought about it, I left it. It was like a joke, I'm telling you. I wasn't serious. I wasn't even like banging this door. It was just like something that I bumped into, and it was adventurous, and I just did it. Okay, anyway, and then when reality hits me, I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Anyway, so few months later they responded. I had even forgotten that I had put this application through. And then I'm like, okay, I remember saying that if I get accepted, it's a sign that I need to be there and the Lord will provide. So I said, okay, now things are getting serious. I need to prepare. I need to know where the school fees is coming from. I need to know how I'll get there, okay? So I go through all the requirements they're sending me and blah, 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 blah. honestly, I don't have any money. Yes, I work in the bank, but I don't have enough savings to cover such a large cost, okay? Anyway, I said, I'm gonna go with this. And during that time when the letter came in to accept me, I had just sold my house. I was working in the bank and I had gotten a mortgage of a house that it wasn't really finished, and it was giving me headache because I knew I wouldn't afford to really furnish it and finish it completely. So I was looking for a seller because I'm like, you know what, I can't really maintain this house. It's too big for me. My father was telling me, just sell it. It's going to cost you so much. You know, I couldn't get any more mortgage to continue building the house. So I decided, you know what, it's okay to sell it. So when the letter came in, it made sense that I was at the right time of me selling my house. And with that money, I'm going to put it towards going to Australia. Okay, deal. Okay. Anyway, so I'm looking for a seller. Mark you, when I was buying that house, it was really quick. Everything went through. Blah, 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 blah. But for me to get a buyer for my house, it took a stretch. So between 2011 and I finally went to Australia in 2012, this whole year is when I saw I knew the meaning of testing of faith. So when I was praying, when this letter of acceptance came, I said, I'm praying, Lord, if this is your will, may it be done. I'm not going to stress. I'm not going to worry about it. And I remember getting a quick vision. Remember, my journey with the Lord was getting stronger. So I was getting into, you know, like the fruits of the Holy Spirit, the gifts of the Holy Spirit. And I was starting to get, like, to experience, like, seeing visions. And that was like in the prophetic and all that. That was really exciting. It was a really exciting moment in my life. So when I was praying about this particular journey, I saw a vision. It was a very quick one, like maybe 30 seconds. I couldn't even see it clear, but I know that I saw it. And it showed me a paper of a visa stamped, approved. And then after that, it was complete darkness. So I didn't understand what it meant. It was God was telling me, yes, the visa is going to be approved, but the journey between where I was to when the visa was going to be approved for me to travel was complete darkness, and I didn't understand what that meant until I had to go through the journey of getting to the place where the visa was to be approved. It was really dark. It was really requiring me to stand on faith. It was really a place where I really needed to believe what God has shown me, even when everything around me was not showing any indication that I'm going to go to Australia. So I go through the visa requirements and all this, and they're telling me that I need to show a financial proof of at least 3 years of 6 million Kenya shillings. Where am I getting that statement? Where am I getting that bank statement? So that was one of the thing that was almost impossible for me to get, for me to be able to apply for the visa. If you're coming from Africa, you already know that getting a visa to go to overseas is very hard. It's like they make it so hard, okay? So I'm thinking, I already got a travel agent, and even just paying the travel agent, everything I was paying, let me tell you, everything that I needed was coming at the right time. Like God was providing the exact finances at the right time, just before the deadline. I'll give an example. Like I needed to pay a lot of things. Every stage I needed to pay a lot of things. And God will just provide in mysterious ways that I cannot even explain. I got a modeling gig. I got into a TV commercial and they paid me. I got into a magazine, gig, a whole spread, and they paid me. And this is where I was able to pay towards some of the requirements. I was already earning a salary from my bank. So I was getting every saving I could and putting it aside as well. I even was fasting more like I only ate one meal. And then because I was living with my cousins back then, I used to walk to their house, and it was like 45 minutes to go and 45 minutes to come to work. Lucky enough, it was near the city. So I was cutting on transport, I was cutting on food, I was cutting all expenses, most of my expenses, to make sure that all my savings are going towards this project, okay? And then finally my house sold, and I was like, yes, this is awesome. Guess what? I get a call from my dad, and he's like, your mom has a situation that we need to give a certain amount this immediate moment. Like right now, it's an emergency. If we don't do it, it's like life and death. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And the amount that they mentioned that was needed to rescue my mother back then, my mother passed away. She was sick with leukemia. She needed that amount that I had just collected from the house that I sold. And I remember that day going to the bathroom and literally screaming because it hurt so bad that I finally thought that I have the money to go to Australia, and then I have to wire every dollar. By the time I was finishing wiring this money, I was nil in my bank account. And in my head I was thinking, this can't be God. Like, how could this happen? God already, everything was lining up in a way that everything is moving, right? And then boom. And while I was in the bathroom, like just confused, shaking, because I couldn't believe this is happening. My savings are going. The Lord asked me, so you trusted in your bank account, huh? Oh, that shook me, woke me out, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Lord. Okay, I'm not going to sweat about this. I'm going to just trust you. I'm going to trust you. And that's when the gigs started coming in. Random gigs started coming in, and I was just getting like extra money here, extra money there. And I remember I had booked my flight by faith. I even went and took a loan and booked my flight by faith. I booked my flight like 6 months prior my visa being approved. And I remember the travel agency asking me, are you sure about this? Because this is an offer ticket. It was like around $1,000. And once you don't have a visa, normally we don't accept booking flights without the visa, the physical visa, but we're gonna go ahead and book the flight for you. But if you don't get the visa, there's no refund. I said, go ahead and book that flight 6 months prior. The visa took long because I wasn't getting the statements. I wasn't finding the statement. I wasn't getting somebody to sponsor me with the statements. That's where the problem was with me. But anyway, through God's guidance in, just miracles, I was led to somebody who decided to sponsor me with their bank statements. They are a wealthy businessman, and they said, for me to sponsor you with statements, you need to give me at least $100,000 Kenya shillings, so I don't touch that money, because the visa requires that money is in the bank undisturbed for 3 months. So it's like, this is my business money. If I don't touch it for 3 months, I need money to be running my business, so you need to pay me. So I paid $1,000. I even can't remember where I got that $1,000. Maybe from my savings from working the previous months. But I was constantly cleaning my bank account, constantly. But every stage, every step of the way, whatever I needed, the Lord provided. And this whole process took a whole year of just me moving one step at a time by faith, not even eating much, like just fasting most of the times, crying unto the Lord, saying, Lord, I'm just gonna trust you. I don't know how, but I'm gonna trust you. And so far, so good. I can see your goodness, and I'm gonna continue. And God brought people who encouraged me with this journey, and finally, my visa got approved. And you know what? It got approved literally 2 days before the flight. The day the flight was leaving. 2 days. When the agent called me telling me that my visa was approved, I almost collapsed. I was like, thank you, Jesus. I had already said goodbye to my family in Mombasa. I went and did a farewell party before the visa. I already bought my suitcases and packed before the visa. I already booked my air ticket 6 months before the visa. So if this visa was to flop, they already did a big party for me to say that I'm going. Everybody thought everything is done. And my mom was like, don't tell anybody you don't have the visa, just hang in there, Don't tell anybody about what's happening, just trust God. And I kept quiet, and I just moved by faith like that. And God came through at the 11th hour. I finally got the visa. And I remember my friends I was out of money completely by the time this journey was I was about to take that flight, I only had 200, I think 300 American dollars for a 2-year visa. They had given me a 2-year visa. So I was going to Australia for 2 years with only $300 in my pocket, not knowing where my rent is coming from in the next days, food or whatever. That's another story altogether. I was going by faith. I literally boarded that flight by faith. I remember crying so much out of fear of what's gonna happen, but I did it scared. I went scared, okay? I remember landing and then going to the college because you have to, get, processed and all that. And by the time I was done, out of that 300, I paid my rent for the week, which was $150 per week, Australian dollars. I paid my utility bill. By the end of day one in Sydney, Australia, 2012, July, I'll never forget, July 23rd, 2012, Sydney, Australia, I only had roughly $35 left. This $35 was supposed to sustain me for the period that I was supposed to be there. How? I don't know. But all I remember that the first night, I couldn't sleep. Actually, I didn't have bedding. I didn't have a bed. After paying my rent and utilities, I didn't have extra to buy my bed or anything for my room. It was just a small, tiny room. And my plan was I'm gonna put all my clothes on the carpet and sleep there. It was so cold. It was in July. This is my first experience with winter coming from Africa. And I said I'm gonna survive. But in my head, I was like thinking, oh my gosh, this is it. It's either I'm gonna die of hunger, cold, from being homeless, or I don't know. This is the end of me. I was asking myself, was that stupidity or was that faith? Was that lack of wisdom or was that faith? And I was crying to the Lord that first day in Australia. Now my faith bubble had been like completely busted, because I was like, what? A week's rent is $150? What was I thinking? Anyway, that night I cried myself, but before I slept, I heard the voice of the Lord in my thoughts. And God asked me again, do you think I brought you this far to kill you? Wow. That only woke me up, and I said, Lord, again, I'm sorry. I will continue trusting you. This far you have brought me. I will not be shaken by my circumstance. And I don't know how I'm going to survive, but I'm going to trust you. Anyway, the next day, I went to college and I made a few friends, and my housemates at the house that I was staying, we were really living in a very beautiful house, 7-bedroom house. Australia is like really beautiful. This is my first experience in first world. It was like amazing. Everything is just neat and, but I'm constantly shaken on how I'm going to survive the next coming days. My roommates, God was so faithful to put me with some South African roommates, so that was a good start. And then this girl from South Africa, she's Indian South African, without even knowing my story, the first day she's welcoming me in, she welcomed me to the kitchen and she was like, welcome to our house, I'm your roommate, and this is my kitchen cabinet. Whatever is in this cabinet is yours. If you're hungry, come and eat from anything from here. You don't even have to ask me. So day one, this lady offers me food. She doesn't know that I'm freaking out how I'm gonna survive, okay? Anyway, I'm gonna continue with part 2 of this story of how my journey in Australia continued from that day one moving forward. But it was such a good experience, scary but awesome to just lean on the Lord and to know that whenever we trust in the Lord, He never leaves us, He never forsakes us. Okay, so I pray that this will bless you, and watch out for part 2 coming soon. Okay.